Attention fans of Jury Duty. The groundbreaking comedy series is back for season 2, featuring an all-new cast. This installment takes the comedy out of the courthouse and into the mountains above Malibu for an annual company retreat. The catch? Everyone but the new guy is an actor. Oh yeah, and the company is fake. Get to know all the employees of Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce, a family business with everything on the line. Season 2 arrives with bigger laughs, higher stakes, and the same heart that made the first season a cultural phenomenon. And here's the fun part. You'll be able to try all 4 flavors of Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce on Amazon. Jury Duty Presents Company Retreat is now streaming on Prime Video. Don't miss the feel-good comedy everyone's going to be talking about.
At Great Wolf Lodge, there's adventure for the whole family. You and your pack can splash away in the indoor water park, where it's always 84 degrees. There's a massive wave pool, a lazy river, and tons of water slides for your pack to enjoy together. And the fun doesn't stop there. Get ready to explore and play at adventure-packed attractions from Magi Quest, a live-action game that takes place throughout the lodge to the Northern Lights Arcade. There's also a bunch of great dining options and complimentary daily events, like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. And the best part? With 22 lodges across the country, you're always only a short drive away from adventure. So bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Book your stay today at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today, and there are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront, and in exchange, shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control, with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
Okay, I'm recording now. I don't really know how to start this without sounding like I'm exaggerating, so I'm just going to say it the way I remember it. This isn't one of those stories where something chased me or grabbed me or left scratches on the walls. If that had happened, honestly, it might have been easier. At least there would have been a moment where you could point and say, that's when things went wrong. This was slower than that. I was a sophomore in college. I had transferred that year. I didn't know many people yet, and ended up in campus housing because it was the only thing available mid-semester. The room was one of those narrow doubles where everything feels slightly too close together. 2 beds, 2 desks, cinder block walls. Generic is the best way to describe it. My roommate, Erin, had already been living there for about a month when I moved in. She was normal. That's the thing. If you saw her during the day, you wouldn't look twice. She went to class. She had friends. She laughed at stupid TikToks without showing me, like we weren't close enough yet to share them. We weren't enemies. We weren't friends. Just 2 people existing in the same rectangle. The first weird thing happened maybe a week in. I woke up in the middle of the night, that kind of waking up where nothing causes it. No noise, no dream. Your brain just kind of decides you're done sleeping for a second. And I had this feeling like I wasn't alone, which sounds stupid because obviously I wasn't alone. I had a roommate. That's the whole deal. But, it felt like I wasn't alone in a way that didn't include her being asleep in her bed. I didn't move at first. My eyes adjusted to the dark. That's when I saw her. She was standing in the corner of the room, not doing anything, just standing there. At first I thought maybe she was on her phone, but there was no light, no glow, nothing, just her shape. Completely still. I whispered her name because I didn't want to fully wake up and deal with whatever conversation this was going to be, and she didn't answer. So I assumed she was sleepwalking, which, okay, weird, but explainable. I said her name again, a little louder, and she turned her head toward me. Not like a startle, just not confused. A slow, deliberate turn, like she had already been awake for a while. And then she walked back to her bed and laid down. No explanation, no sound. Just laid down and pulled the blanket over herself. The next morning I asked if she sleepwalked. She said, "No, why?" And I remember laughing and saying, "You were standing in the corner last night. You scared the hell out of me." She looked at me for a second, longer than I expected, and then she said,
"I didn't get up."
I figured she was messing with me. That's what I thought for a long time. That she had a really dry sense of humor and liked committed to it. But then things started being off. Not big things, just small enough that you question yourself first. I'd leave my notebook on my desk, perfectly squared with the edge. I'm kind of obsessive about that. I'd come back and it would be shifted, not moved somewhere else, just rotated slightly, like someone had nudged it and tried to put it back. My charger would be coiled differently. My chair would be tucked in farther than I ever pushed it. Once my alarm was set for 7:30, then it went off, and it was set for 7:32. 2 minutes. That's it. Just enough that you wonder if you didn't half asleep. I started taking pictures of things before I went to bed. I didn't tell anyone that. I didn't want to be the person who thought the roommate was secretly touching their stuff. That's unhinged behavior. So I told myself I was just being organized. But the photos never matched in the morning, and the nights got stranger. I'd wake up sometimes and see her sitting at her desk. That part isn't weird. College students do that. What was weird was that her laptop would be open and the screen would be completely black. No reflection, no login screen, just dark. And she'd be staring at it, not typing, not moving the mouse, just staring. Like she was waiting for something to appear. I asked her once what she was working on. She said,
"It hasn't started yet."
I said, "What hasn't?"
"It will."
I stopped asking questions after that. I started sleeping with my back to the wall so I could see the whole room when I opened my eyes. I didn't even decide to do that. My body just started doing it. Then came the morning. I found her under my bed. I woke up because I heard breathing. Not loud, just close. Too close. At first I thought it was me, like my head was under the blanket or something, but when I leaned over the side of the mattress, I saw her. She was lying flat on her back underneath my bed frame. Hands folded over her stomach like she was in a coffin, eyes wide open, looking at where I had been sleeping. I didn't scream. I didn't even react right away. I just said, "Erin?" She smiled. Not at me. Just smiled.
"I was listening."
To what? She didn't answer. She just rolled her head towards me, still smiling, and said,
You make a lot of noise when you dream.
I asked her why she was under there. She said,
It's quieter.
After that, I stopped feeling like I could rest in that room. Even when she wasn't there, it felt like she had just stepped out and might come back at any second. And then the nightmares started. Not normal nightmares. I'd wake up and hear her talking, fast, too fast to understand, like someone trying to say every word they know before they forget them. Sometimes it sounded like arguing, sometimes like reciting something, sometimes like she was repeating what I had said earlier that day, but wrong, slightly rearranged, like she was practicing being me. One night I heard her laugh, right next to my bed. I didn't open my eyes. I knew she wasn't supposed to be that close. And then she whispered, very clearly,
You moved.
That's all she said. The next morning, she was gone. Like normal. Backpack, coffee, see you later. Like nothing had happened. I requested a room change that week, told housing we weren't compatible. I didn't explain. I didn't try to make it make sense. I just needed out. They moved me to a different building on campus. I never saw her again. And I was a sophomore when we met, so where did she go? What happened to her? I have no idea. I asked around from the people whom I thought were her friends, and they said, quote, Erin went home. That's all I got. That's all I know. Even to this day, nearly 3 years later, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm scared to open my eyes, because I think she'll be watching me.
This was almost 5 years ago when I got my first place by myself. It was in the city, old building, pre-war, the kind of place that had a tiny brass mailbox panel in the lobby and radiators that looked like they weighed more than a car. The location was perfect. Walking distance to everything. Way cheaper than it should have been. When I toured it, the super said, "She's got character." That should have been my first clue. Apartments are not supposed to have personalities. But I loved it. High ceilings, tall windows, hardwood floors that creaked in a way that felt charming in this classical New York City rom-com kind of way. I signed the lease that day. The first week was normal unpacking chaos. Boxes everywhere. Eating takeout on the floor. Getting used to the sounds of the building. Pipes clanging, someone walking overhead. The elevator groaning like it was mad to see me. Everyone told me these were normal New York City sounds. Then I started finding things. The first was a strand of hair. Long, black, like really black. Not dark brown. Not mine. I remember holding it up and even laughing, because it felt like the most cliché, someone lived here before you moment imaginable. Of course there's leftover hair. That happens. I threw it away. The next day, there was another one. On the bathroom sink. Then one on my pillow. I told myself it had to be from the previous tenant. Maybe caught an event or stuck in a corner and drifting out now that I was moving around. That explanation worked. For a few days. Until I realized they were always new. Not dusty. Not tangled with lint. Just single, clean strands. Like they had just fallen. I checked my own hair in the mirror more than once. Same color, same length. Nothing missing. Nothing that matched. Then I found a fingernail. Not like a clipping. Not the little crescent you get from trimming. This was whole. Jagged on one side, like it had torn off instead of being cut. It was sitting on the windowsill. I remember staring at it for a long time because my brain couldn't figure it out. It wasn't what. It was who. I wrapped it in a paper towel and threw it out. Took the trash downstairs immediately. That night, I noticed a streak on the wall. Up high. Way higher than I could reach without standing on something. It was thin, brownish, dragged sideways like someone had run their hand along the wall while, I don't know, climbing, falling. I got a chair for an up-close view. It flaked. I told myself it was rust from the pipes. I cleaned it. It smeared red. There was more. A tooth. Yeah, a tooth. A small flat tooth in the corner near the baseboard. Another nail, this one split down the middle. 3 strands of that same black hair, caught in the hinge of the bathroom door like they'd been pulled there. I started doing these little checks when I got home. Not consciously, just scanning. Like I expected something new to be waiting. And there usually was. Around the same time, the sound started changing. At first, it was just louder pipes. Banging when the heat kicked on. People warn you about that. Sounds like someone hitting it with a hammer, my friend said. Totally normal. Except it stopped sounding like metal. It started sounding wet. Not all the time, just sometimes. A knock that ended in a sort of hollow slosh. A vibration that carried on longer than it should. Like air moving through something thick. One night, I woke up because I thought someone in another apartment was choking. That's the only way I can describe it. A struggling, uneven sound coming through the walls, followed by a long, rattling exhale. I sat up in bed listening, trying to figure out which direction it was coming from. Then the radiator next to me made the same sound. Not a clang. A gurgle. I didn't sleep much after that. I started keeping the lights on in the kitchen, then the hallway, then the bathroom. I told myself it was because the place didn't get much natural light. That I liked it brighter. That's what I told myself. Over and over and over again. But really, it was because I hated the idea of walking into a dark room and discovering something waiting for me to notice it. The last week I lived there, it escalated. I came home from work later than usual. It was already dark. The building was quiet in that heavy way old buildings get, like they're holding on to the day's heat. I unlocked my door, pushed it open, and stepped inside. I saw her before I fully processed what I was looking at. She was standing by the window, just standing there, looking out at the street like she lived there. An old woman, very thin, wearing something pale that hung straight down. Her hair was long, black, the same black. I didn't ask who she was. I didn't say anything. I screamed and ran out of the apartment, banging on the super's apartment downstairs. He opened the door, looking half asleep and completely confused, and I just kept saying, "There's someone in my apartment." He grabbed his keys, followed me back upstairs, and unlocked the door. Empty. He checked every room, every closet. He even looked under my bed. Nothing. No open windows. No sign anyone had been there. He asked if I wanted to call the cops. I said I wanted to move out. I didn't pack that night. I didn't go back inside alone. I stayed in the hallway until a friend came to get me. When I went back the next day with boxes, there was one more thing on the floor near the door. A long strand of black hair, curled like it had just fallen. To this day, sometimes I'll have anxiety attacks when opening my new front door. Scared to go home. Part of me is still convinced that if I walk inside at the wrong moment, I'll see her again. And this time, she won't be facing the window.
Thank you for calling the Bombas Comfort Line. Bombas make socks, slippers, tees, and underwear made with the highest quality materials. Press 1 for comfort, 2 for style, 3 for donation.
You chose style. Bombas is styles for whatever you enjoy. You can run in Bombas, lounge in Bombas, dress them up, dress them down, but always give back in Bombas. Because with every item purchased, another is donated. Bombas, comfort worth calling for. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO.
Attention fans of Jury Duty. The groundbreaking comedy series is back for season 2, featuring an all-new cast. This installment takes the comedy out of the courthouse and into the mountains above Malibu for an annual company retreat. The catch? Everyone but the new guy is an actor. Oh yeah, and the company is fake. Get to know all the employees of Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce, a family business with everything on the line. Season 2 arrives with bigger laughs, higher stakes, and the same heart that made the first season a cultural phenomenon. And here's the fun part. You'll be able to try all 4 flavors of Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce on Amazon. Jury Duty Presents Company Retreat is now streaming on Prime Video. Don't miss the feel-good comedy everyone's going to be talking about.
At Great Wolf Lodge, there's adventure for the whole family. You and your pack can splash away in the indoor water park, where it's always 84 degrees. There's a massive wave pool, a lazy river, and tons of water slides for your pack to enjoy together. And the fun doesn't stop there. Get ready to explore and play at adventure-packed attractions from Magi Quest, a live-action game that takes place throughout the lodge to the Northern Lights Arcade. There's also a bunch of great dining options and complimentary daily events, like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. And the best part? With 22 lodges across the country, you're always only a short drive away from adventure. So bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Book your stay today at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
Okay. I'm recording this because I don't trust my memory anymore. That's not dramatic. I mean that literally. I need a recording of what's happening so I can come back later and hear it and know I didn't imagine it. Or didn't add to it. It's 11:38 p.m., I think. The microwave says 11:40, but that thing gains minutes like it's trying to escape. I live alone. Have for years. I like it. I chose it. No roommates, no pets, no weird neighborhood friendships where you end up holding their spare key and suddenly you're watering a plant named Daniel for 10 years. It's just me, and quiet. When you live alone long enough, you learn your sounds. You just don't hear them, you catalog them. The radiator takes twice before it stops. The fridge hums, then clicks like it changed its mind. The floor near the hallways gives a short creak if you step too close to the wall. I could walk this place blindfolded and tell you where I am just by listening. So when something shows up that isn't on the map, you notice. At least I thought I did. That's the part that bothers me now. I don't know how long the voice has been happening before I registered it. The first time I remember, I was half asleep on the couch, TV on low, some late night rerun where everyone laughs too loudly, and I heard a woman talking, soft, calm, like she was already mid-conversation. I assumed it was a TV. Didn't even open my eyes. That's what gets me. That should have been wrong enough to wake me up, but it wasn't. It felt normal. Like hearing someone in another room you forgot was there. I fell asleep listening to it. I don't remember what it said. I wish I did. The next time was different. I was fully awake, middle of the day, making coffee. I heard my name from the living room. Not loud, not sharp, just... Hey! The way you say someone's name when you're checking if they're home. I stood there holding the mug under the machine long after it overflowed. Just listening. I told myself the TV was on. I walked into the living room, ready to be annoyed at myself. TV was off. Remote on the table, no sound. I even checked behind the couch like someone could crouch there, like there was... like that was reasonable. Nothing. I remember saying out loud, okay, like I just solved something. I hadn't. After that, it spaced itself out. Days, sometimes a week. Always just my name. From another room, from the hallway. One from directly behind me while I brush my teeth. I didn't turn around. I need to explain that because it sounds insane. I didn't turn because it didn't feel like being startled. It felt like if I turned around, I would be agreeing to something. So I kept brushing. Spit, rinsed, went to bed. Heart pounding the whole time. I started noticing patterns. It never happened when there was outside noise. Never when I had music on. Never when I was on the phone. Only when the apartment was completely still. Like it needed the quiet. Like it was waiting for it. I tried recording it at night. Just left my phone running on the dresser. Listened back the next morning. Nothing. Just me breathing. The fabric moving, but I remember hearing it while I slept. That's when I started feeling... Watched isn't the word. Observed. Evaluated. Then it started saying other things. Not conversations, just like little comments.
You left the light on.
I had.
You need your keys.
I did.
It's getting late.
It was. Always correct. Always helpful. Like living with someone extremely polite who refuses to show themselves. I laughed about it with a friend. Called it my efficiency ghost. I wish I hadn't laughed. Because that's when it changed. 3 nights ago, I was in bed, scrolling, couldn't sleep. The kind of silence where your ears start ringing just to fill it. And from the doorway,
You should get some sleep.
I said, stop. I didn't plan to. It just came out. Everything went quiet. Not normal quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like something is waiting to see what you'll do next. Then it said,
Okay.
It answered me. My chest locked up. I couldn't breathe right. I sat there staring at the doorway, expecting, I don't know, a shape, a person, something to justify the sound. Nothing. Just a dark hallway. I finally managed to ask, who is this? There was a long pause. And then, you know me. It was my voice. Not like a recording, like me, standing there. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. And eventually it stopped. Weeks went by, nothing. I convinced myself that I had some stress hallucination. Brains do weird things, that's what every article says. And I almost believe it. Until yesterday. I stayed late at work. Everyone else had gone home. The office was empty in that echoey after-hours way buildings get. And I heard my name from the hallway. My voice. I didn't look. I don't know why, but I knew looking would be worse. Footsteps came up to the door, then stopped. And then,
Stay with me.
I sat there for maybe 10 minutes before I could move. I quit this morning. Didn't explain why. I haven't heard it again. But that's not what scares me now. What scares me is this. It never speaks unless I'm alone, and every time it does, it knows exactly where I am. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording now. Because I just realized something. I never told it where I live. And I just heard the floor in the hallway creak. The one spot that only makes noise if someone is standing there.
Thank you for calling the Bombas Comfort Line. Bombas make socks, slippers, tees, and underwear made with the highest quality materials. Press 1 for comfort, 2 for style, 3 for donation.
You chose style. Bombas has styles for whatever you enjoy. You can run in Bombas, lounge in Bombas, dress them up, dress them down, but always give back in Bombas. Because with every item purchased, another is donated. Bombas, comfort worth calling for. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO.
At Great Wolf Lodge, there's adventure for the whole family. You and your pack can splash away in the indoor water park, where it's always 84 degrees. There's a massive wave pool, a lazy river, and tons of water slides for your pack to enjoy together. And the fun doesn't stop there. Get ready to explore and play at adventure-packed attractions from Magi Quest, a live-action game that takes place throughout the lodge to the Northern Lights Arcade. There's also a bunch of great dining options and complimentary daily events, like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. And the best part? With 22 lodges across the country, you're always only a short drive away from adventure. So bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Book your stay today at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
Are you ready to finally make that dream a reality? Maybe it's updating your kitchen, paying down high-interest credit cards, or covering tuition. Your home is more than where you live. It's also your most powerful asset. At Unlock, we make it simple to turn equity into options. With a home equity agreement, you can access cash today without taking on another monthly payment. Imagine the freedom to invest in your home, reduce financial stress, or finally start that big project you've been putting off. It's your home. It's your future. Unlock it today. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.